Yo, what's going on guys? Jared here. Today I want to do a little bit of a discussion video, and this is going to be on the TCG exclusive archetypes that we've been getting over the past, I would say, about 8 years. It's been a long time since, 2014, 2015, even maybe earlier than that. Um, and just to talk about, kind of like the hype behind them, understanding why I'm doing this video, which is pretty, honestly, I'm going to be straight with you, it's just me complaining, because it's just frustrating, and I'm going to explain it a little bit. Yeah, but overall, I'm curious what you guys think about TCG exclusive archetypes at this point, right? Because as we know, they have not been the best, and they haven't been the best in a long time. I mean, a long time. And we're going to jump into that a little bit right now. But I want to start off with the good, right? The best that we've gotten, the ones that have been competitively viable, that make a change in our format. And there's been three. I will give them three. That is going to be Burning Abyss, of course. I think that is the most obvious. That is the most straightforward one. Cosmo, on release. I am also, I wanted to preface this. I am speaking of this like these cards come out and they make an impact. This archetype came out, it did something. Like there was a change in the meta because this deck existed. And it's Burning Abyss. They did change the meta. It took a little bit. It took a little bit for Burning Abyss to get figured out the right strategy for it with the Wing Blast, Karma Cuts. Some people played Supply Squad, but we figured it out. Like the first set was Duelist Alliance was playable at that point. Cosmo, because Forerunner was such a annoying card to deal with at the time. So Cosmo Forerunner was very good with Honest and OTK and with just a Mochi Teleport. Again, really, really good. They made an impact in the format, warped it. And Danger. Danger, again, isn't really like a deck is in itself, but it was put into enough decks, I think, at the time where I can warrant it being here on release. It did something with Jackalope, Nessie, and Bigfoot. The Jackalope and the Nessie being like the two major ones. But yeah, like I think that these are the ones that really had an impact right off the bat. And I want to give an honorable mention to Kaijus, because Kaijus also came out as TCG exclusives back in the day. And again, they weren't a deck, they were just more of a side option. And I like that because they were competitive, right? They were a competitive option in the format. We used them. They were usable. We did use them at the time. Not many people apparently now have played back then, but I remember all of these as they were coming out, the hype for them, etc., etc. And now I have compiled all the ones, I think I have all of them, all of the TCG exclusive archetypes that we've gotten, and put them into a deck here. So I want to talk about them a little bit, because after those, that's it. There's nothing else. And the reason I'm making this is because I want competitive game to switch up from the OCG. I think that is a much more fun, healthy, and exciting experience for the player base than to be able to go on roadoftheking.com, look at what the OCG doing, and then just completely assume that this is going to be the only options that we have moving forward from this time frame to this time frame until this new or other product comes out or X-Banlist comes out. When there is a fresh breath in a format, it's really exciting. And I can honestly say, especially during Cosmo and Burning Abyss, it was super exciting. Seeing which new cards were coming out for both of those archetypes was ridiculous. Seeing Farfa and Virgil and Fire Lake all come out in like the second and third sets for Burning Abyss was so hype. Seeing Dark Destroyer get announced for Cosmo was ridiculously hype. It was so cool. And it's so frustrating to me that like we haven't lived that hype again in literally almost 10 years. And I can't believe it's been that long for me, but it really has. And it like just all went downhill. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever seen these decks from, like, I'm saying from release, like, do well? They are good enough to compete in something. I know there's going to be people who are going to say, oh, Plunder has topped. Plunder has topped. You're absolutely right. Plunder has topped. But it took at least, I would say, 3 sets worth of support to like get there, and Jord was like the last thing that the deck really needed. Noble Knights, I'm not even gonna talk about Noble Knights. The amount of cards that this deck got before it even was playable was crazy. We had to play Madron Turbo for like years. UA, I'm not even talking about UA. FA, I really ain't talking about FA. Mutant, come on. The Joker deck, bro. Gold Pride had potential. It was close. I think Gold Pride was probably one of the closest ones, because it had a lot of cool stuff with Captain Carey and Leon, but it didn't have the other pieces of it that it needed. Tistina, I think Tistina was also close. A deck with like 3 to 4 deck interactions that with the first wave of support, I'm like, oh my god, this is finally it. And this was recent. Like you can see my videos of my excitement about Tistina because I really thought this was it. It felt like BA again. Like you have all these deck interactions, you have all this consistency. They revive back from the graveyard. Like the deck already has so much, and like it just needs to do a little bit more. And then we got like a literal goat card. We got like an actual goat card. That level 5 Dark Tistina, that is like disrespectful card design for 2023 when it was released. It is crazy how bad that card was. The Flaming Swordsman deck. This deck, again, I think this is close. This is like the, this is going to be like the Gold Pride to me. It's like right up there. It's like really close. But these are also like full decks compared to something like Gold Pride, which got released, you know, set by set by set. And then Ashen to me was just like, kind of like a tipping point for me because I'm just so over this hype. Like so many years of just going, like getting excited for a set. Oh, a new TCG archetype. It's going to be so excited. Konami does like a nice intro with like the fire coming across, and I'm like, whoa, this is gonna be so cool. And then it's a dark archetype in the Year of Fire, and there's still pyros. That's cool, I guess, so we can get bonfire, which I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just like, oh, and they suggest you can use bonfire when there's literally one target. It's like, and like the deck as a functionality, I can like break down Ashen way more. The deck as a functionality is just nowhere near good enough right now. It's just not. Like, people can cope about some of the combos and, like, stuff, but when you're actually building that deck, that's where these ideas fall apart, and you just start saying, why is this even here? Because there's just decks that do it better, and that's my frustration. I think Libromancer had a really cool startup. It was actually really good. Like, not startup. The first set wasn't that good. It was when we got Libromancer Fire. I think that was where it started going in the good direction. And then again, falls flat, doesn't do anything. I'm not even talking about Warrock. Like, come on. Again, another good, this is our GOAT deck. Vendread. Honestly, how many people do you know who have played Vendread, Time Thief, or Dream Mirror? I forgot this deck even existed. This was a TCG archetype that we had. Yeah, I didn't know either. I forgot. When I was doing research, I looked at the card, and I'm like, the hell is that? What is that? And then I remembered, oh, that's Dream Mirror. That's right. I forgot that this deck even existed and was pack filler for like 3 sets. Same thing with like Pure Time Thief. Like Pure Time Thief has like cool cards. Like this one, Regulator, it's cool cards. Then you read the rest of them and you're like, what's the point? Vendread, this is another one that's cool. It's like, it's just a cool design. And then like some of the cards just like, they just flop, man. Like they're just not there. Subterror is another one. Spiral too, both of them. Now you're probably thinking, oh, what about Guru Control? Oh, what about Double Helix? I mean TCG. They shake up our meta. These cards, these decks were only good because Japan got Guru, and then that made it good, and Japan got Double Helix, and that made it good. TCG-wise, these decks, awful. Were not played. Straight up, terrible decks. No one played them. And it's just frustrating, because in all honesty, I would rather just have more generic TCG exclusives than just like these bad archetypes. And I really want your guys' opinion on this because it's so frustrating. It's been so long. When the last one was Danger, and it wasn't even like a competent deck. It was just an engine. And then before that, it was Cosmo, and that's like 2015, 2016 decks here, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm just, it's a little frustrating to say the least. And I'm more of an optimist than I am a pessimist. But to say that Ashen, I think really had like the best potential, right? Like Year of Fire, the fire intro, the pyro stuff with like Snake Eyes coming out, Diabell, like all this stuff that could work in there to make it a competitive deck, to maybe shift the meta so it's not just Snake Eyes everywhere. Nope, not happening. The best thing we got is the hand trap card. That has the most potential, but like right now, it's still not it, in my opinion. I don't think it's that good. If it is good and we see it at like Vegas or something, I'll eat my words 100%. But I've messed around with it. It ain't it. It's just not to me. I don't see it doing good. I think honestly that of the newest stuff that's like playable, I think fighting Flame Swordsman, like the Flame Swordsman stuff with Infernoble to get it back on track is like the most potential. But even that's like, you know, whatever. It's not like great. They already hit Infernoble and like made it narrow path to Angelica. So if you just wait for Angelica, it sucks. I mean, there's like draws in the format too. That's not helping either. But like, it's just, I want TCG exclusive archetypes to be good. That's all I want. I'm tired of just looking at OCG knowing that meta, and then just being like, okay, that's what's good. There's very few times where it's changed. I will say there's very few times. Unchained is one of them. Unchained is one of the rare occasions where TCG players figured out something that OCG was not doing, or they were doing it and no one played it, because maybe it was like a meta thing, but and did really well over here. That's one of the few things. But again, that's not TCG archetype. That's just a deck that sometimes Japan doesn't figure out. It's so rare when that happens. But overall, I want to know your guys' opinion on this, because this is just something that's been frustrating me for almost 10 years now. And I'm just I'm just done getting hype about these. I'm over it. Every time there's a TCG exclusive, I can care less now. Like, I'm done. The hype isn't real anymore. This was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And again, you could say Ashen has the bones. It has all the bones it needs to do something good. And then I'll show you my Testina cards, and I'll say, this had the bones too. And look where that got us. A really bad level 10, rank 10 exceed. A really not level 1 fire. Again, that was another one that could have had, it needed a fire and a water, and they made the water level 1 and the fire level 2. And they made both their effects mediocre at best. The water one it's like, they're both okay. They're both okay in the deck, but it's not it. Like, it's not good. Like, I want competitive goodness. Like, I want these cards not to be pack filler. That's what I want. So that's my rant. I'm done ranting. I can't anymore. My blood pressure is through the roof. But overall, let me know what you think down in the comments, because I'm really curious. There's no script on this either. I'm just rambling, like really just rambling. But I think I have a valid point here. I really do, because it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, especially when they hype it up. When they hype it up, and then it's just like, bro, what is this? This is like GOAT format stuff, man. Come on. So again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Let me know what you think, because I think the best way where we can, if we want a change, would be like to band together and show that we don't want this. We don't want all of it. We don't want like bad plunder. We don't want Vendread. We don't want Dream Mirror. We don't want Ashen that doesn't do anything. We want decks that do stuff. So yeah, again, overall, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about it down below. I'm curious. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.